Well, that was emotional, wasn't it? Plenty of our promotion winning heroes shown the exit door over the last summer, but also a wealth of new talent into the squad. All the fun of yet another Ipswich Town transfer window. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Harvey Bell. We're going to be going over Ipswich Town's transfer business in this video. If you want to leave a comment down below about how you think our business was this summer, and also subscribe to the channel, that would be very much appreciated. Now, obviously I've been scrolling through social media and I've been seeing a bit of the reaction, and to be honest, I see both sides of the coin. So I've been going for near enough 15 years now. I've been going since I was 5, and the squad that got us promoted from the Championship obviously into the Premier League is the first era of players really that has brought any success to the club in my time watching. So I have a massive amount of emotion towards that squad, and seeing that squad slowly sort of go over this window has been really, really disappointing. And I can sort of understand the reaction, people saying we're losing our spirit. I think maybe that's a little bit over the top personally, but that's just my opinion. And I think you can look at the other side of the coin and think that when we were in League One, we had the demolition under Paul Cook, where the old era of players were sort of kicked out as such. McKenna obviously then came in and he got the new team playing well together. Ultimately, last season, we were in the Premier League, and the players that we had in the squad sadly did not live up to expectation. And therefore, if we do want to move forward, then, you know, sentiment sort of has to go out the window a little bit. And the players that we've brought in this summer are probably some of the most talented players Ipswich Town have ever bought. I mean, at the end of the day, we are the top spenders in the division, so surely we've bought quality. Albeit, of course, we have seen a lot of people go out. We have got that money because we've seen a lot of talent go out of the squad. But still, the likes of Chuba Akpom coming into the team. Obviously, you've got people like Matasiwa coming from abroad, Jens Kajust, who proved himself in the Premier League last season. It's that level of player that I think is going to take us to the next level. But anyway, we're going to look at the squad in a little bit more depth now. We're going to start with the goalkeeper department. So our goalkeeper department currently looks like David Button, Christian Walton and Alex Palmer. That comes after Ara Muric headed over to Serie A on a loan that will probably become permanent at the end of the season. Now, Ara Muric signed for the club back in the Premier League last season, and sometimes transfers just don't work out. He's clearly a talented goalkeeper in the sense that he's attracted interest from a number of top flight clubs across Europe, really. So, look, he's got a massive frame for a goalkeeper. He's something like 6'7", and there were positives when he played. He commanded his box quite well, but whatever happened off the field, you know, there's rumours, nobody really knows. But it just didn't work out, so it doesn't really surprise me that he's moved on. And if he is to go at the end of the season, if that obligation to buy passes through, then it's going to see us recoup most of the money that we spent on him. So I think that's really good business. Kieran Slicker obviously departed as well on loan to Barnet. This makes a lot of sense for me. He's a young goalkeeper. He was never going to be first choice at Ipswich, and he is in the Scotland international team, so he needs to be playing regular minutes. So him going to Barnet makes a lot of sense to me. David Button, a bit of a veteran goalkeeper, coming in as third choice. Probably will never play, but good to have on the books. Christian Walton surprises me a little bit in the sense that so many of our promotion winning team moved on this year, and I thought at his age he would be seeking first team football, which I don't think he's going to get here behind Alex Palmer. But personally, I'm delighted because he's a very steady pair of hands at this level. And Alex Palmer, you know, we know what he is. He's safe. He's going to be our number one all season, and I'm more than happy with him between the sticks. The centre-back department is where I get a little bit frustrated, to be honest. This is my biggest frustration of the summer, because letting Cameron Burgess go for free is massively disappointing. He's been a player that has outperformed over the last couple of seasons. And I could sort of get it when the rumours were that he was going over to La Liga. I think Valencia were linked. And when we announced that he wasn't going to be signing a new contract, I thought, okay, look, but he's going to go over and play in Spain, and that would be really good for his career. Then when we found out that he went to Swansea, I was a bit like, well, what's going on here? Because this player is somebody that's been instrumental to Ipswich, and now we're just letting him go to sort of a mid-table championship club. So that was really disappointing. Obviously, McKenna had other ideas, which happens sometimes, I guess, but I was really disappointed to see Burgess go. Then Axel Tuanzebe going over to Burnley. I mean, that sort of makes sense. We signed him when he was a free agent. We got him back to fitness. I maybe feel like he owed the club something, but maybe that's me looking at it with my blue tinted glasses. But yeah, I was really disappointed to lose Axel Tuanzebe as well. And then obviously Luke Wolfenden has departed. Now this one has probably been coming for a little while. McKenna said that he's been wanting out of the club for some time now. It's just disappointing that he's gone, because he's been here since he was something like 12, 13 years old. He's been here for a donkey amount of years. So it's like, it's always sad when a homegrown player like that moves on. And he's contributed so much in that time. I'm going to wish him well at Coventry, obviously just not when he plays against Ipswich, because I feel like Coventry are going to be up there this season, so it sort of hurts to strengthen a promotion rival a little bit. But look, everybody I'm sure will wish Luke Wolfenden well as well. So that leaves us with Jacob Greaves and Dara O'Shea, which will be the main centre-back partnership, you'd imagine. That was sort of forming in the Premier League last season, and hopefully a season in the Championship together, they can really start to build on that partnership. That leaves us also with Elkan Baggett, which I'm really excited about, because he's been on loan a lot of times and hasn't really had much game time due to injury. But from what I've seen of him, I really like him. He's very, very strong and very, very good in the air. So maybe being our second choice behind Greaves in that left centre-back role will do him a world of good. And hopefully, you know, he gets some minutes on the pitch. Then we've got Cedric Kipri as well, who we signed over from France, former West Brom player of the season, actually. I don't know an awful lot about him, but in the few games that I watched in pre-season, he looked quite strong. And, you know, if he's won West Brom's player of the season, then he's obviously quite proven at this level. So I'm sure he's a very good addition to have in the squad. Right back, we're quite stacked, really, because we've got, obviously, Darnell Furlong now, who signed from West Brom. We've got Ben Johnson, we've got Ashley Young, and we've got Harry Clark too. Now, we'll start off with Harry Clark, because I think that had he not been injured, he would have probably been amongst those shown the exit door this year. But because he's obviously injured, probably not as attractive to a buying club to come and buy him. So he's going to stick about for a bit. Ashley Young, I think, is a terrific bit of business. I know there's question marks over his age because he's 40 years old, which makes him the oldest player to represent Ipswich. But from what I've seen of him so far, you know, there's a reason he's still playing football at his age. The experience that he brings to that dressing room is crucial when we've lost people like Morsey and we've lost people like Chaplin. Then, you know, somebody like that who just gets the game is really, really important. Darnell Furlong is a bit of business that I think sort of came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was necessarily expecting another right back. I think it was a left back we were more after, obviously with Connor Townsend's injury. But again, a good bit of business, an attacking fullback, proven at this level. Joins in on the whole thing of West Brom defenders joining Ipswich eventually. So a good addition. I think we paid something like $3.5 million for him. So that's a good bit of business, I think. And hopefully we see him on the pitch soon and he can crack on. And then obviously we've still got Ben Johnson, which is, yeah, I think he's good at this level. Struggled a little bit in the Premier League last season, but he's got a lot of top flight experience and hopefully he can bring that into the Championship. And this season, you know, he can grow a bit in confidence. Left back, we didn't really lose anyone at left back, but we did lose Connor Townsend due to injury. And obviously we've still got Leif Davis. There were links of him going to Nottingham Forest, which I'm relieved never happened, because then I think we'd have been really short. But I think we maybe could have done with another left back just because we've only really got Davis there now. But I think the whole thing of bringing in Darnell Furlong means that if needed, Ashley Young could go over and cover at left back, given that's where he played a lot across his career in the Premier League. Now, central midfield this year is the biggest overhaul by far. From the top of my head, we have got Azor Matasiwa, we've got Jens Kajust, Marcelino Nunes, Jack Taylor and Cameron Humphreys all competing for spots there. Before we talk about the players that have come in, wow. We will never see that partnership of Massimo Luongo and Sam Morsey again. Sometimes you just have to take a minute, you just have to take a pause and just be happy that it happened, as cliche as that sounds. Two terrific servants to this football club. And do you know what? I know people said that we shouldn't have let Morsey leave on a free, but that guy's given our club so much, and why on earth would we stand in his way of going and enjoying his last couple of years with his family, abroad, closer to his home, and earning terrific money. So, you know, I was disappointed to see him go, but I completely get it from a career point of view. Massimo Luongo getting a move to Millwall as well, so still going to be playing Championship level football, which I think he's more than capable of doing, even though he is getting on a little bit. But what a partnership what that was, and, you know, it's a real shame to lose them two. But it did call for a midfield overhaul, and Azor Matasiwa, again, really exciting that we're looking abroad for players. I think for far too long now, Ipswich have been looking domestically, perhaps overpaying. But Matasiwa looks like he's somebody that reads the game really well. I think he's quite strong in the tackle, and hopefully he can continue to build. Jens Kajus, I don't think anybody really saw us pulling this one off because he was so good in the Premier League last season. And to be honest, there was a whole transfer saga that went on here. You know, he's always going to leave Napoli, but he was nearly at Besiktas, he was nearly at Burnley, but then finally he joined Ipswich on loan, and we've got an obligation to buy by all accounts. So I'm really excited to have him back. I saw him play, obviously, against Derby at the weekend, and the first half he absolutely bossed it. So if he can keep that up, then we're in for a really exciting season. Now, I giggled there as I finished that because the next player I'm going to talk about is Marcelino Nunes. Now, if I was on the other side of this and we lost, say, someone like Connor Chaplin to Norwich, or Cameron Burgess had gone to Norwich instead of Swansea, I'd be absolutely heartbroken. But it didn't happen. Marcelino Nunes left Norwich to come for Ipswich, and that is a very, very funny piece of business. Before you even take into account what a great player Nunes is, I mean, he scored the winner in the last East Anglian derby. Hopefully he can do that again in October, just for the other side this time. So I think he is a really good player. I don't think he's necessarily somebody that gets stuck into the tackle too much. I think he is a bit more of a flair player, likes a few tricks, has an eye for a pass, apparently really good on set pieces. But this bit of business is just fantastic. And obviously Mark Ashton was cooking that all through the summer. It never really got linked until it happened. And yeah, when it did, I mean, what a time to be alive as an Ipswich fan. That was just a very enjoyable 24 hours. And let's see what he does in an Ipswich shirt. Jack Taylor and Cameron Humphreys obviously have been here for a little while now. Cameron Humphreys was on loan at Wycombe last season and by all accounts had a really good season. So hopefully he can kick on and get some minutes in the Championship. And Jack Taylor is perfectly capable at this level. So I'm pleased that we've kept him on the books. Then we move on to the right wing department. And there was obviously a lot going on with players exiting here. It leaves us at the minute with Casey McAteer on the right, Sindre Wally-Egley and an injured Wes Burns. The big thing that happened at right wing this season was Amari Hutchinson. Now, I get it. And the thing is, I'm the same age as Amari Hutchinson. I'm not playing professional football because I'm frankly not good enough and never was going to be. But I like to think that would have possibly handled it a bit better, just on the basis that Ipswich is where he started out. You know, I know he was at Chelsea, but he made his name here at Ipswich across that promotion-winning season to the Premier League. He scored a couple of goals last season in the Premier League, and it's with us that he's enjoyed most of his success. And you never know what's going on. There's only, you know, there's two sides to every story, and you don't know what his agent was telling him, that sort of thing. But by all accounts, to refuse to play is really, really disappointing, I think. I get that you want to play Premier League football, but I think another season in the Championship could have been really good for his development. Obviously, it is difficult for us because he was such a good player, but we did get good money, £37.5 million for a player that we paid 20 million for. That's enormous profit, albeit some of that will go to Chelsea. So I'm a little bit disappointed to see him move on in the nature that he did, but nevertheless, wish him well at Nottingham Forest. And I know people are angry, but I think you have to remember, A, he's 20 years old, and B, you've got to wish him well at Nottingham Forest because a lot of our bonuses and add-ons to the transfer fee rely on him doing well. So you may as well get behind him and support him, even if you don't like the way that he went. We've also said a temporary goodbye to Shidozi Ogbeni as well. Spent most of last season injured, and, you know, it was a massive injury. And it makes sense for him to go out on loan, try and regain some confidence, try and regain some fitness and some match sharpness. And, you know, hopefully we see him back in an Ipswich shirt next season, ready to go straight off the bat. Going to Sheffield United, mixed emotions about that. It means he's going to be playing for a top-level Championship side. But again, it helps out a promotion rival. So that to me is a little bit strange. But regardless, I'm pleased to see him go out on loan. And hopefully, you know, he comes back a better player and ready to go off the mark. Then obviously we bought Casey McAteer in for £12 million. Now, I've liked Casey McAteer, to be honest, as a player for the last couple of years. And I know people were saying that we've possibly overpaid and 12 million to Leicester is a lot of money. I agree. I probably wouldn't have paid £12 million for him. But that said, it's not my money. Like, I haven't actually physically paid £12 million for him. And if the club think that that's a fair valuation to bring him in, then so be it. Because I think Casey McAteer is a good player and I think he'll go on to prove a lot of Ipswich fans wrong, if I'm being honest. Sindre Wally-Egley, we signed him from a Norwegian side. By all accounts, the Norwegian Messi. You know, Norway fans and fans of the club that he signed for seem to absolutely love him. His highlight reels are very, very exciting. His stats show that he's one of the most creative players in that division, and hopefully he can bring that to Portman Road. Again, got to be patient. He's an 18-year-old moving across to a different country, so it might take a little while for him to adapt, but hopefully he does, and we could have a really exciting player on our hands and somebody to replace Amari Hutchinson. Wes Burns hopefully returns from injury soon. I think he's going to be shocked when he comes back to training and sees all of his mates gone, but no doubt, knowing the character that Wes Burns is, he'll soon settle in with the rest of his new teammates, and hopefully, sort of post-Christmas, he can get back into the form that we've seen from him over the last few years. We're going to talk about left wing now. We're left with Jack Clarke and Jaden Philogene there, two players that I'd like to see a little bit more from, and I think that's a view shared by most Ipswich Town fans. But hopefully scoring the penalty will do Jack Clarke the world of confidence, and I'm sure when Jaden Philogene gets that first goal, then he'll start taking on players again and unlock that player that we saw play for Hull City. But obviously, the biggest omission from that left side this season is going to be Nathan Broadhead, and I said it about Morsey and Massimo Luongo. What he's given to this club is absolutely phenomenal. His move makes a lot of sense. He started out at Wrexham. He felt that maybe he should have had more minutes in the Premier League last season. I personally agree with that. And the opportunity came for him to go back home, and he took it, which you can't really argue with. And we got £10 million for a player that is out of contract next summer. So that's a good bit of business. But again, it's another one that hurts, even though it probably makes a lot of sense. Then moving to the number 10 position, we're left only really with Sammy Schmodics there. Some people say Chuba Akpom plays there. I personally think he's a bit higher up, but can possibly do a bit of both. The biggest obvious transfer out there was Connor Chaplin going back on loan to Portsmouth. There's a lot of players sort of this window that have gone back to their previous clubs because I think they've probably had such a good time at Ipswich that they then just want to go home and be with family, that sort of thing. So the fact that he's gone back to Portsmouth didn't surprise me at all. He clearly loves Portsmouth, and if he wasn't going to be getting regular minutes or as many minutes as he wanted here, then it makes sense from a personal point of view for him to go. I don't really understand it from a club's perspective because I think we've left ourselves a little bit short there. If Schmodics was to get injured, then it would be Akpom playing slightly out of position. So that was strange to me. And obviously, I'm just not happy to see Chaplin go because, even take his goal scorer now, the way he presses the football, some of the build-up play he's involved with, I'm going to miss that little thing that he does where the ball comes to him and he's maybe on the right side and he does a little no-look pass out to Leif Davis. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss him going down in the first 20 minutes of the game so that we can have our tactic break. I'm going to miss the Leif Davis cut back to Connor Chaplin. I'm going to miss it all. I'm going to really miss Connor Chaplin, and I'm sure he'll miss Ipswich Town too. But there is a recall option in January if we need him back, so that's always good to know that he could come back. But sadly, I do think that his time is over, and like I've said to all of our promotion winning team that have moved on, just wish him all the very best of luck at Portsmouth. Now, it seemed like all summer long we were looking for a striker to replace Liam Delap. George Hurst took the number 9 shirt, obviously a good goal scorer over the last couple of seasons. He's now joined by Ivan Azan and Chuba Akpom. So, again, Ivan Azan coming over from Como FC in, I don't know if they're Serie A or Serie B, to be honest with you. But again, dipping into that foreign market, which I think is good. I think it's high time that we did that. I think he's rated highly. I think he's another young player that is going to need time to adapt. He's a Spanish player. He'll be wanting to get himself into the team, probably for the World Cup, albeit maybe that's a little bit ambitious at this stage. But, somebody to challenge Hurst is really, really good. And we saw him come on against Derby. He looked physical. He looked a handful. He looks like he's going to sort of put his body about and hopefully score some goals. And I watched his highlights video. I know you can't really see too much from that, but he scores all types of goals. He looks very good in the air. Some of his headers look really, really impressive. I think it's exciting to have him on board. I'm going to temper my expectations because I really don't know what to expect from him, but I'm hopeful that he can come good. And then Chuba Akpom. Wow, I'm really, really pleased about this bit of business. I think this deal has gone under the radar just because Chuba Akpom, when he was in the Championship before for Middlesbrough, was different gravy, to be honest. 28 goals for Middlesbrough the last time that he played in the Championship. And if he gets decent service, I'd back him to do it for us, frankly. There's a reason why Birmingham wanted him. There's a reason he got moved to Ajax in the first place, a team that plays in the Champions League. And that's because he's a goal scorer. You know, you watch his highlight, he scores all types of goals. Headers from close range, from long range. He nearly scored against Derby from range. I tell you, once this boy gets one goal, they're going to keep coming. And I'm really excited to have him. So I think our striker department looks very, very strong. I know Hurst seems a little bit low on confidence and he's maybe started the season out of form, but we know the goal scorer that George Hurst is. We know the way that he can hold up a ball. And yeah, maybe it's not clicked in the first few games or, you know, the first set of games before the international break. But I've no doubt soon enough it will click. And, you know, those three strikers are going to be more than capable of scoring goals this season. So I think that's exciting. So that brings an end to our transfer window for the summer. As I say, it's really sad to see some of the players move on, but it is probably, unfortunately, necessary. There was times during the transfer window where Kieran McKenna appeared a bit dejected, and I think that's because he maybe didn't have the players in that he wanted. But then we obviously had that brilliant day where we signed 4 players in one day, and that was really, really exciting. So, you know, I think he'll be a bit happier now. And as much as we've lost a lot of spirit in our squad, I think we've gained an enormous amount of talent. And yeah, look, at the minute, of course, they're going to play like individuals because this is a completely new team. Players aren't going to have clicked together yet. You know, how many overhauls have we seen at Ipswich Town across the last 5 years? It takes time. It takes patience. So I get it. It's frustrating, but I really do have a good feeling that when Kieran McKenna gets these boys on the training ground, once confidence comes back, you know, the good times are going to roll again at Portman Road. As I say, thank you very much for watching. I'm really pleased to be back on YouTube. Hopefully, I'll try and be a bit more regular. We'll see. Life gets in the way sometimes, but we'll see how we go. But I've really enjoyed being back, talking to you about the transfer window. Would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments and stick around for the next video. Thanks again. Keep on keeping on.